Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Cool. Sound, right? Sound is one of those things that for most of us we take for granted, but just because it's been there our whole lives, right? Um, but it's one of the great applications of mechanical waves. And so we're going to start looking at sound and everything that goes along with sound today. Have you ever wondered why it is that when say an ambulance or a fire truck is coming towards you, the siren sounds like "Roo, roo, 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 roo," but then when it passes you, it goes "Roo, roo, 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 roo." Like, what's that about? Probably a lot of you know that there's a name for that. It's called the Doppler effect. But why? Why does that happen? It's actually because of the speed of the waves and how fast the speed of the waves and how separated they are when they're coming towards you, and then how separated they are when they're moving away from you, or when the vehicle is moving away from you, I should say. And so we're going to learn about that, how movement affects sound, how sound travels through different media. Media is plural for medium. Um, what's the range of what we can hear? And yesterday we looked at waves and how they can constructively interfere, right? Build each other up, and how they can destructively interfere, right? To basically wipe each other out. And so sound is a wave and it can do that. And so we're going to see how you can do that. And I'm going to show you how to set up an experiment in your home with just two devices where you can make loud noises quiet. So that'll be kind of fun. We're going to do that next week. I'm sad to report that one of my favorite hands-on activities we're probably not going to be able to do because it requires a lot of materials, and you guys don't have those. But I'm going to see if we can do it, and you can let me know if you want to try and do this. This is the Wave Interactions Lab, and define some things. But one of the fun parts about it is you get to sit down on the floor with a slinky and move it around with a partner, and constructively build up waves and destructively make waves disappear by doing stuff like this, making wave pulses. So I'm going to see if there's a way that we can do this at home if you have the materials, and or remotely by watching me and my family do it. We'll see. Anyway, back to today. So goals for today. How many are there? 2. Describe how sound is created in musical instruments. I gave you a video on this yesterday. And describe sound-related terms. So I gave you some music for today. And I wanted you to think about how all these things make sound. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already done that. I'm going to pause the video. You pause it too. I still look the same. It's not one of those Instagram videos where they put on makeup. Sorry. So how does a violin make sounds? A piano makes sounds? A bass? Well, these 3, I'll stop here. These 3 all have something in common. They all have strings. And so they all use this kind of wave. What kind of wave is that? So they all use a string to make sounds. Saxophone's different. Any strings in a saxophone? No, different kind of wave. We're going to learn about that too. But still, waves, right? Moving air and varying air pressure to do that. Drum does that too, right? You hit the drum, it moves the skin on the top, which creates some pressurized air, and that pressurized air moves and pressurizes more air, and eventually gets to your ears, and you go boom, okay, or a tap, whatever kind of drum it is. So all of these things have something in common. They all vibrate the air around them in order to make sounds. Now, through what medium do those sounds get to your body? Oh, I just gave it away. Air. Could you do this in some other medium? Sure, but we don't. Right? We don't play the violin underwater, because if you do that, it'll probably be the last time you play the violin, and that's like a few $1,000. Okay, So to introduce things, you've heard sounds before. We're going to look at terms and things like that about sounds. It's kind of long. There's reading here, and let's see, here it is. So this is all reading from one of my favorite physics textbooks, which we don't actually uh, have. Just have a copy of it, and it's a conceptual physics book. So it's more about the concepts and less about the math. So we got some stuff about tuning forks, and I'll do some demonstrations with these things next week. And if you have a tuning fork, sweet, pull it out. We'll use it next week. If not, I'll show you how these things work. But we're going to look at all kinds of stuff about sound, right? And vibrations. And look, this guy's playing basically a bass that's connected to a wash basin, and it's going to vibrate the air in there, and it's going to make sound. It totally works. Basic stuff, nothing fancy here. So you're going to read that, and there on Schoology, there's a fill in the blank guided reading guide to do. If you can't access that, you can access this one. So like Tati, because you can never access anything. And what else? Quiz on waves. Take it by Saturday so that I can look at it on Sunday and assess what we need to cover again on Monday. So those things are out there. That's it. Pretty straightforward day. And hope you have a good one and a good weekend and enjoy the nice weather. It's supposed to be really pleasant today. Do you notice that there aren't too many planes flying these days? It's really quiet out. 90% fewer planes. Kind of a bummer if you're an airplane pilot. Actually, I'm sure it's a huge bummer. But interesting. Quiet skies. Okay. Have a good one. See you later.